Hello. Hi guys. uh yes, I am in the same robe attire as my last video. Uh I am home. It is snowing. I am bored, so I'm making another video. And this one's going to be pretty rambly and probably without a point or a moral to the story at all. Um but I had thought for a while that I want to do sort of a series of like being fat and dot dot dot. So like being fat and vegan, being fat and chronically ill. Um, because there are things that don't really seem to go together, and it just provides me a slightly different experience than what people might think. And so this one will be the being fat and chronically ill video. And it's funny because when you think of fat people, you definitely think of them being ill. You know, you don't think of them as being healthy. You see an obese person and you think they definitely have, joint problems. They definitely have diabetes or blood sugar problems. They probably have high cholesterol. They probably have, trouble breathing and heart issues. It just comes with the territory. Um, but that's very different than someone who is chronically ill. So someone who has a visible or invisible illness. Um, because, like, if I say to you, oh, I have this friend, she has this rare disease that's like lupus, and it's makes her really tired and makes her in a lot of pain, and she has all these complications. In your head, you're imagining this frail creature, a thin, frail, probably pale, sickly looking, but sweet. That's what you imagine when you think of a chronically ill person or a person with an autoimmune disease. Um, I sort of do the same thing in that I watch a few YouTubers who have the same illnesses as I do, and they are young, thin females. um, they'll have feeding tubes or oxygen or, a lot of braces or aids. Sorry, that was an itch on my elbow. I wasn't like braces. It's just like, it's just what you think of. There's those like movies now. What do they call them? Sick lit. Like the books about, sick teenagers, and they are always this certain type of looking individual. And, people don't see that when they see someone that looks like me. Um, because I have been sick my entire life, but I've also been fat my entire life. So it just isn't two things that seem to go together that well in people's minds. Um, it has a lot to just do with perceptions. If I am myself and I'm walking into the grocery store and I have my cane or I have a big bulky knee brace on, or I park in the handicap spot, the looks that I get from people are much more of a judgmental look than a sympathy look. Because I think automatically in their mind they see my size, and then they see my struggle, and they think that it's related. They think that I have a knee brace on because I'm so fat that my knees have given out. And if you were to see a smaller person with a brace on and a cane hobbling in from their handicap spot, you look at them and you think they have something wrong with them, and that's really sad. You know, people don't rush to help me with anything, and I have seen people rush to help a smaller person, a more frail-looking person with, you know, a similar AIDS or affliction, you know, because people just assume they can tell they didn't do that to themselves. They didn't treat their body poorly to get in that position. And, you know, I get that. I do get that. I get it. You know, I don't like bust in there being like, why you don't want to hold the door because I'm fat? You know, like, it's not like that. I get where they're coming from, and I get that that's just sort of a bias that we have grown to know and make these associations. But because of that, it makes me a lot less vocal about my illnesses. It makes me more embarrassed about them, because I feel like when people see me, I'm bigger and therefore hardier in a way. You know, I'm not seen as being fragile in any way, except in the way of like, oh, she must not be healthy because she's fat. But people just see other people my size and don't think of, you know, fragility. People don't think that I could be in pain from picking up a watermelon that's too heavy, because I have this illness, you know, that is invisible. But it's also, you know, changed their view because of how I look as well. And the thing is, like I said, I don't think that this ramble is going to have a real point. I am not trying to, you know, change people's minds. I mean, I would love to, only because I have always been someone who, when I see anyone, everyone and anyone, even if they're in a car, they're sitting on a bench, I just assume that there's something wrong with them, in that every single person that I've ever known or even briefly met, they're in some sort of pain. Everyone. Physical pain, emotional pain, you know, even children, but hopefully not children. But when I was a kid, you know, my joints hurt all the time. And, you know, you get to be a teenager and it's the same thing. You know, most teenagers are in all kinds of pain, emotional and physical. And it just continues on. You know, we are these really gross, fleshy little buckets of weird biological mass. You know, like, everybody has an issue. Everybody. if you ask, your friend that's like at the gym all the time and they seem so healthy, they're going to tell you they've had sciatica for a long time, or they get these headaches, or, they have a cavity that hurts. Like, everybody has some pain. And, I think it's harmful to ignore everyone's pain, and only focus on the people who appear to be in a lot of pain. They deserve help, and they deserve the sympathy for being in that pain all the time and just going through it. But it's safe to assume that everybody has some of that pain. And so if you just treat everyone like, it's cliche, but like you would want to be treated, then everybody's going to be a little bit better off, because then I won't have to tell you, can you hold that door for me? Sorry. Because, my shoulder's out of its socket and it would be easier if you helped me. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that to strangers. I don't want to do that to people that I know. But I do that. I pay that forward to other people when I can, because, I don't want to have to ask. And I know that they don't want to have to ask. So, again, tangent and rambly, and I can't even say it's besides the point, because there really was no point to this other than to talk about my experience of being a chronically ill person whilst also being a chunk. So, it just sort of colors everything a little bit differently when not only is your illness invisible, but it's also hidden under layers of fat. So I think that's my whole ramble. I really hope that wasn't too convoluted. I know that there was no point, but maybe if you, sorry about the dog, come here, Chai. Maybe if you were wondering what it was like to be ill and chunky, this is what it's like. And it's funny because this past week, I don't know if it's from my new medication or just from being on like bed rest for the whole week, but I had lost like 10 pounds. And I've been eating, pretty normally. So I'm not really sure. And of course I've been trying to lose weight forever, for my whole life. So, but it's weird that my first thought was like, oh good, I'm glad that I'm like losing weight without trying, because it like proves that I'm sick. Like that was my thought, was not like, oh good, I'm losing weight because that's good, that's healthier for me. It's like, ooh, I didn't try to lose this weight and I lost some. And that means something's wrong, and that means something is visibly wrong. And I was like happy about that. It's very backwards. Like I can afford to lose a lot of weight with or without trying. It doesn't matter. Like it's not unhealthy for me to lose weight at this point. But of course it means something is wrong if I'm losing weight and not actively trying to lose weight. But I was like, oh good, I've got this new diagnosis now, and now maybe I'll start to look like a sick person. And that's stupid. I don't want to look like a sick person. Nobody does. But I think it's just a way of feeling validated that you are sick, you know? Maybe then I don't have to say to people, oh, you know, I'm sick. Or like, oh, you know, I have this thing and I'm really sick and I've got a diagnosis and, you know, like I don't, it would be nice to not have to explain because, oh, look at Shannon, she looks frail, she looks sick, and it's like explained on its own, you know. I don't know if any of that makes sense. But anyway, I'm doing fine. I'm still, you know, thinking about, you know, the life ahead and happy to have another diagnosis now and things to move forward with. But it definitely makes me think about all of this random stuff. So if you made it through the whole thing, good on you. I'm proud of you. And I was gonna say leave me a comment, but honestly, I don't know if there's anything to comment on this. Maybe just tell me something like the last good movie you watched or something, so that it's a good comment and not just about being fat and being sick. So anyway, I hope you have a great day, and thanks for watching. Bye.